Well, here's a little interesting tidbit. Apparently, Dark Universe isn't dead. This was the Universal Pictures attempt at creating a cinematic universe with the old Universal monsters being brought back in a new form to flesh out this universe. Now, they had attempted this with a movie called Dracula Untold, I believe, but it bombed, and so those plans were scrapped, so they started over and then brought out the Tom Cruise picture, The Mummy, but that one bombed too. It's not a... I didn't see the Dracula one. The Mummy one I did see. It's not a bad movie per se. It's just not that interesting. And it wasn't anything that was going to be a vehicle to launch this franchise. Part of the problem is they rushed it out, and this is the Dark Universe, and it's already established and anything. It's not like it's sort of fed out to you where you figure out that, oh boy, this leads to something else and all that. The story certainly within it would reveal it where Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde appear in this Mummy movie. But basically, it's the same story you got from the 90s picture where they stumble upon the mummy and, oh, it's terrible. This time it's a woman, but nevertheless super powerful and all this stuff, and it's all terrible. And of course, the initial premise was that, oh, we're gonna push more for an action adventure type stories rather than just horror movies where you're fighting a monster, which means they wanted to copy Marvel a little too much. The idea that Marvel presented with its success of this expanded universe and all these movies are connected to where it's like a television series on the movie screen is fine. In fact, I'm intrigued by that, but I'm intrigued by it to expand to other genres, not just the superheroes. I think the only one that should have been successful was the DC characters, but, well, so far they've stumbled. But nevertheless, it would be interesting to see other things. Of course, there's Star Wars, and boy, they're stumbling. But to see other genres, so here you would have horror, and I thought it should have pursued that more. Now, in The Mummy, it's clear she's a monster, and Tom Cruise has to try to overcome it. In the end, though, spoiler, Tom Cruise kind of becomes the mummy in the sense that he becomes possessed by the spirit of an ancient Egyptian god of the dead type entity, but he's able to keep it under control, and it kind of leaves it hanging there where he and his friend are traveling the desert seeking answers, I suppose. His friend, who he raised from the dead, he now has these mummy powers and goes forward. So that kind of sets it up. Oh, will Tom Cruise become this heroic character throughout whatever story the Dark Universe was supposed to head to? But the problem was, did I really care to see what becomes of him? No, not really. And so that was the failure of the story. Another thing was that I thought with the feeling and using the brand of the classic old monster movies was to go ahead and set them in the period pieces that the movies were. The only one that wasn't much of a period piece was The Creature from the Black Lagoon, which would be the one that I suppose they could set in contemporary times. I mean, by now, of course, it seems old because it was set in the 50s, but that was the time the movie was made. But the others, it just had that old European feel to the stories of Frankenstein and Dracula and all that. And it probably should have looked into that and emphasized more horror and monsters and that sort of thing. But, well, it is what it is. But after the failure of The Mummy, it figured, oh boy, lots of stuff was scrapped. It was supposed to be followed up with Bride of Frankenstein, and I believe Angelina Jolie was attached to that. And then all of a sudden they said, well, we're putting it on hold. Boy, we don't know what to do. But all of a sudden, an artist on Instagram posted that he had a great meeting this morning with the amazing Dark Universe team. And he thanked the Universal executive Holly Golightly and Crash, I guess it's, what is it, a catering company? I don't know. For the hospitality. Looking forward to contributing to the Universal Pictures legacy with my work. Monster things in the works. Stay tuned. So, and this guy's name was Vargas or something. I'm not familiar with him. But anyway, so that's the deal. He's working on a movie, and this is an article I'm reading from Cosmic Book News, where they say it's possible that the Dark Universe movie has been given a release date, which will be this Blumhouse Productions film. Last year saw producer Jason Blum express interest in tackling a low-budget entry into the new connected monster universe. So that would be interesting, as they would keep it low budget, because a horror movie, more times than not, it doesn't necessarily need to be a giant special effects fest. When you're achieving horror, a lot of clever camera work and whatnot can achieve it just as well. So depending on what it is this Bride of Frankenstein? I don't know. Is it, Creature from the Black Lagoon? Whichever one it is, it could be done a lot cheaper than the Mummy was. And whether or not the Mummy would still be a part of it, I don't know. This might be yet another attempt at this movie will be the tentpole going forward. But it all remains unknown. So we'll have to wait and see. Won't that just be fascinating? Well, so I guess I've heard, I keep hearing someone said, there was another movie they tried besides Mummy and Dracula, but I can't recall it at the moment. So let's just say this will be the third one, and for the purposes of Dark Universe, hopefully third time will be the charm. So best of luck to them. But again, don't try to turn them into superheroes. Keep them monsters. Go for horror. And of course, horror movies, like I said, are more suited to the low budget fare. If you want to start there, and if they become successful, you make some more money back, you can go into more special effects and whatnot, and more challenging films. So that's interesting. So Dark Universe, not dead, perhaps undead, however you want to put it. So a little tidbit there to look forward to, because I'm still intrigued by expanded universes, and so I'd like to see them succeed rather than constantly seeing all these failures, except only Marvel making it. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. Thanks for watching and listening. Why not like and subscribe? And check out the link description below for the links to my podcast, The Mr. Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. New episodes every Wednesday and Saturday. And also check out the links to my mini stores that have tons of goodies for you.